A few people have asked for a Dark Souls 3 video. I have yet to do a cheese video, or a least attacks video for Dark Souls 3. The problem is, Dark Souls 3 keeps getting more broken. Take this for example. Many of you likely know about the Prince's Phase 2 cheese. If you're positioned behind where the princes spawn on the red carpet when Phase 2 begins, Lorien doesn't see you, and you can use a bow to hit Lothric without Lorien ever being alerted. But how many of you know about this cheese? Probably not nearly as many of you, as it's a fairly recent development discovered by Vadar, and someone else who has since deleted their accounts, so I'm not sure whom to credit. Many new things like this have popped up for Dark Souls 3 over the past year or so, which would have a big impact on these style of runs, so I've been waiting for the dust to settle before I work on those videos. In the meantime though, I figured, let's do a sneak peek of what's possible in Dark Souls 3. For this run, the rules will be simple. Complete the game either skipping or cheesing every boss we encounter, and play on current patch. So everything you're about to see was done on version 1.15.2 of Dark Souls 3, which will likely be current patch forever, unless another remote code execution bug pops up. Let's begin. Starting off, we'll want to choose the Thief class, with black firebombs as our gift. Run through the cemetery like normal, grabbing the Ashen Flask, but stopping to clear out the enemies near Gundyr's arena. Here's where things will get a bit less normal. After removing the sword from Gundyr's chest, save and quit when your character's weapons reappear. When you load back in, walk into the arena, then immediately back out. The fight will start with you on the wrong side of the fog gate. Wait for Gundyr to walk up to the fog gate, and use your firebombs to hit him. We have exactly enough firebombs to get him to Phase 2. Once in Phase 2, his new giant head clips through the wall, giving you an easy target for your bow. A handful of arrows later, we've successfully cheesed the tutorial boss. Carry on to Firelink and stop in at the Shrine Handmaid to buy a Homeward Bone, a halberd, a short sword, and 100 or so more arrows. Afterwards, head to the High Wall. At the High Wall, it's time to start abusing the first of many effects of the bow glitch. If we interact with the bonfire so our character needs to turn to face it, we unlock the fastest movement mechanic in Dark Souls 3, pivot sprinting. Pivot sprinting is performed by doing a running pivot, rolling forward, and during the roll, holding the left hand's heavy attack button, and either backwards on the left stick or S on keyboard with a bow in your left hand. Yes, you need to input back to move forward. No idea why it works this way, but that's how it works. It also doesn't move you at all unless your character turns to interact with a bonfire beforehand, so all in all, a very strange glitch. When you get to the area with the Drake, head up and grab the club. From there, carry on to the second bonfire. Continue down the normal path, and when you get to the building with the Pus of Man, drop down and head inside. In the lower floor of the building, you'll find an Estus shard sitting on an anvil, which you'll want to grab. After doing so, head outside and start making your way towards Emma. As an aside, you can chain pivot sprints together by performing a standstill roll. I'll link to Vader's tutorial on standstill and delayed rolls in the description. It takes a bit to get a feel for chaining everything together, but you'll be much faster as a result. Next, you'll want to head into Vordt's arena and save and quit after triggering the fight. On loading back in, equip the club to one of your right hand slots and the shield to one of your left hand slots. Run up and take out the archer, then take out the two spearmen on the stairs. From there, switch to the club and leer the sword knight down to the fog gate. Parry and riposte him up against it, and the fight with Vordt will start with us on the outside of the arena. Finish off the knight, and Vordt will be stuck at the fog gate. We can use our bow to unload on him with arrows, and make him look like some kind of weird porcupine. A Vortupine, if you will. Puns aside, using a bow, we're completely safe for this fight, and can carry on to the next area. Now at the entrance to the Undead Settlement, drop down and recruit Yhorm. Yhorm is going to play an important and slightly game-breaking role in this run. Grab the Undead Settlement bonfire, then head through the next building and grab the Estus shard from the pile of burning bodies. Head across the bridge and take the path to the right. We're going to take a massive shortcut here using some carefully positioned pivot sprints and delayed rolls. First, sprint from this pile of rocks up to this other pile of rocks. From there, aim at the rocks by the corner of the building, and you should land in the higher area behind them. By doing this, we've avoided most of the enemies. Now time for the delayed roll. I like to run along the edge of this rock towards the other rock formation that's jutting out and jump when I'm a bit past the shadow on the ground. From there, perform a delayed roll the same way you'd perform a standstill roll before the jump recovery animation finishes. A second delayed roll will get you to the bottom of the ravine without any fall damage, but you can survive the drop normally as long as you're at full health. You can grab the heal shield if you want it. We won't be using teardrop in this run, so it's not necessary, but more importantly, you can recruit Irina. Next, you'll want to head up the elevator to make peace with the giant, before heading down the elevator and onto the Road of Sacrifices. Take the path on the left and jump down by the teleporting dogs to grab the Braille Tome. Head to the next bonfire, and then follow the path you can drop down to the room with the Black Knight, where you'll find both the Windblades and the Farron Coal. Next, you'll want to head over to the Crucifixion Woods bonfire, but be wary of teleporting dogs. From there, continue on to Farron Keep. From the entrance, you'll want to head towards the item you can see through the arch of the destroyed bridge, which is another Estus shard. Next, almost straight ahead from the entrance, you'll see a fire off in the distance. That's our next destination. You can use the Bandit Knife's weapon art to quickly get through the deep swamp. Head up the stairs and extinguish the flame, then it's time for the next bow glitch trick. Equip the halberd to your right hand, then we're going to use our homeward bone without consuming it. This is done the same way you perform a pivot sprint, but with a couple extra steps. Confirm the bone's use during the pivot, then open the menu and use the dark sign during the glitched walking animation. If done correctly, we'll warp without losing our souls, and the bone won't be consumed. From the bonfire, you'll want to follow the path on the left up to the second flame, and quit out during the iframes after the cutscene to reset the enemies. Continue to the left, and the path will take you straight to the last flame, where we can employ the same quit out trick. Head to the next bonfire, and from there drop down to the Slug Party room to find a bone shard. Don't burn it, it's going to play a very important role later. Head through the gate, all the way to the Watcher's boss room, and save and quit on opening the door. When you load back in, equip the straight sword and walk into this corner. Line up your health bar with this line on the threshold, and perform a fully charged one-handed heavy attack directly forward. Wait for the recovery animation to finish, then walk forward. The fight should trigger, and when it does, save and quit. By doing this, we've placed our stable position just inside the Watcher's arena, so on loading back in, we'll be inside with the Watcher's AI disabled. The gold pine resin from the high wall will speed up this fight significantly, so use it if you grabbed it. Interestingly, the AI remains broken even when Phase 2 begins, so the fight is truly and completely free. With the Watchers down, we've beaten the first of the 4 lords, and things are only going to get more broken from here. We don't want to head into the catacombs quite yet, as if you enter the cave with the collapsible bridge, Yhorm will die, and we need him alive. So instead, we're going to return to Firelink. Head over to the Firekeeper and get 20 Vigor, 12 Faith, and dump the rest of your souls into Dexterity. Next, you'll want to head over to Aldrich to upgrade your Estus as much as possible, and allocate the Ashen Flask to a normal flask. We don't need any focus for the time being. With this done, warp over to the Crucifixion Woods. Now there, head through the hole in the wall and follow the path to the Crystal Sage. We aren't going to utilize cheese here. Instead, we're going to outright skip the fight. To escape the arena, head over to this pile of debris by the exit fog gate and jump at the corner of the broken wall. If done right, you'll land behind it. From there, run up the left edge of the wall, and jump when you're approximately at the height of the brick sticking out of the middle of the wall. If you land inside the wall, you'll need to quit out. When done correctly, you'll land on top of the wall, and a standstill roll towards this rock will get you the rest of the way out. Equip your knife, and drop down on the left to take out the Crystal Lizard for a Twinkling Titanite. Drop down again immediately after the first lizard, and you'll find a second lizard on the right for a second Twinkling Titanite. Carry on to the bonfire so we don't have to skip the sage again, and pivot sprint your way through the area. Teleporting dogs will do teleporting dog things, so save and quit at the chapel door. We've now made it to our destination, and can enter the DLC by speaking to Gale. We're currently very underleveled for the DLC, so we won't be spending much time here. Rush past all of the enemies, quitting out when you get past Sif Jr. to get to the area with the tower. Follow the path on the left with the evil trees, and don't do what I did. Instead, grab the Millwood Greatbow, which is all we came to the area for. Return to the Undead Settlement, and follow the path that leads towards the Curse-Rotted Greatwood. When you get to the Giant's firing range, jump across and grab the Bone Shard. We now have everything we need for the next glitch. Back at Firelink, we'll need a few more souls. Use the duplication glitch just like we did with the Homeward Bone, with the soul from the Watchers 3 times. You'll then want to purchase a talisman from the handmaid, then head over to Irina and give her the Braille Tome so you can buy Force. On the way back around, stop in at Andre and switch all of your Estus to be Ashen. Next up, head over to the Firekeeper to get 19 Strength and 16 Dexterity. Equip the Talisman and the Greatbow, and unequip both arrow types. Go into the storage box, disable auto refill on both arrows, and store all of your wood arrows. Leave the great arrows on the ground, then pick them back up. This moves them to the first available inventory slot, which is important for what we're about to do. Make sure you've got Force attuned, and then we're finally ready. What we're about to do is a fairly new glitch discovered by Eloise, which will allow us to get an arrow stale slot. If you've never done this before, back up your save beforehand. We have exactly one attempt to get it right. Step 1 is to push Yhorm all the way over to the bonfire. This is why we bought Force and set all of our Estus to be Ashen. If you run out of focus before you get him close to the bonfire, you can rest at it, as his position won't reset. You'll want to get him to sit roughly on the second ring of steps from the bonfire. You can kick him to fine-tune his position if need be. From there, you can test that he's in the right position by speaking to him, then walking to the opposite side of the bonfire. If his dialogue ends, you're good to go. Next, go through his talk options so he gives you the gesture. The gesture will get in the way if you don't clear it now. From there, make sure you've got your bow two-handed and speak to him. Turn towards and walk in range of the bonfire, then go to Yhorm's talk option. With frame-perfect timing, you can rest at the bonfire immediately after talking to him. This is much easier if you bind Interact to the scroll wheel. The bonfire menu should now open. Bring up a prompt to burn a bone shard, but don't confirm it yet. Wait for Yhorm's dialogue to completely finish, then confirm the prompt. Yhorm's menu will now be open again. Choose Draw Out True Strength. The bonfire menu will reopen, but don't do anything yet. Wait for the level up screen to pop up, then back out of it. We'll now be in the bonfire menu, but now your character will be standing up. Move around to the opposite side of the bonfire so we exit Yhorm's dialogue range. Choose to burn a bone shard, and just before the menu reappears, start firing an arrow. Quickly go to the storage box and deposit all 4 arrows. Normally you can only deposit all of your arrows but 1, but because we fired an arrow as we accessed the menu, we ended up depositing all of the remaining arrows. What does this do for us? Well, now our arrow slot has a stale reference to the empty inventory slot our arrows were in. So head over to the handmaid and buy Heal Aid. It'll go into the inventory slot where the arrows were, and now we have a spell in our arrow slot. We could have put any item into our arrow slot, but there's a major benefit to using a spell. They're never consumed. The arrows we fire take on the properties of whatever arrows were used to set up the glitch, so now we have unlimited Millwood Great Arrows. If you didn't turn off auto refill on the arrows used for the glitch, they'll replace the spell the next time you rest at a bonfire. But if you do have it off, the spell is there permanently unless you remove it yourself. Stale slots in the Souls game's inventory system is a pretty interesting topic, so let me know if you guys would like a video on it, where I can break it down in more detail. With infinite ammo achieved, head over to Andre and allot 3 normal flash charges before continuing. Return to the Keep Ruins bonfire, and take out the slugs by the ladder to the Old Wolf bonfire. Head up and take out the crystal lizard up the stairs on the outside of the room with the wolf. Now head back down the ladder, and it's time for ladder storage. Hold the stance weapon art with the short sword, tap block, and 2 frames later, interact with the ladder. If done correctly, your character should shift in front of the ladder without actually getting on it. With ladder storage achieved, our stable position will no longer update. It also has a couple other interesting effects, which we'll see coming up. Return to the Watcher's boss room and head inside the catacombs. As you're crossing the first bridge, jump down on the left, head past the skeleton, and roll through the illusory wall. Make a right, and you'll find a sharp gem. Continue down the path, and enter the doorway on the left. Follow it all the way down, and take out the crystal lizard at the end. Head back up and run down the skeleton ball staircase. If you pivot sprint the whole way down, you don't need to wait for it to pass you. Drop down to the next section, and head through the illusory wall towards the end. Head up, and grab the Grave Warden's ashes. Hopefully you won't get as unlucky with the skeleton as I did. If you do die, your bloodstain will be back at the ladder, and you'll need to set up ladder storage again. Carrying on from where we were, head into the tunnel. In case you were wondering, the trigger for Yol's death is somewhere around midway through this tunnel. Head across the bridge and give it a smack when you're on the other side. Open the door and do not save and quit. You'll lose ladder storage if you do. Touch the goblet, move forward, and oh my god, a giant skeleton! Save and quit out in fear. On loading back in, we'll still be inside Wolnir's arena, but his AI won't activate when we walk up to him. He's not so scary anymore. This happened because we stored our stable position on a ladder that's no longer loaded. The game gets confused on where it should put you, and ends up putting you at the point you warp to inside of his arena. Now, although you can break his bracelets as normal, you actually don't want to. If you break one, he'll flinch behind an invisible wall, and you won't be able to hit him anymore. Surprisingly, he is susceptible to bleed, but it takes a while to get a proc. After 3 procs, you can finish him off by breaking one of his bracelets to speed up the process. Head backwards from Wolnir's room to the now broken bridge. The bridge now functions as a ladder, and we can use it to achieve ladder storage again. Carry on to Irithyll. Now there's a slight problem, we don't have the doll to get in. But are we going to let some silly key item stop us? Of course not. We're going to take advantage of another property of ladder storage. Run down the bridge to the second post, past the second lantern on the left side. Dodge the beast's attack, then run right up against it and jump. We'll end up clipping to the inside of the bridge. From there, move over here, quickly run to the right, turn forward, and jump again. You'll end up clipping the rest of the way through the bridge. This is called a ladder clip, and it's a strange side effect of ladder storage. You can now make your way over to the distant manor bonfire. Head back the way we came, and go into the tunnel. The bandit knight will once again speed up getting through this area. Carry on through the area, and oh boy, more teleporting dogs! You may also get invaded by the Londor Paleshade here, which is also going to be annoying. Head up the elevator, and take out any dogs that come with you. Open the gate, and head over to the Church of Yorshka. If you didn't get invaded by the Paleshade, now is a good time to save and quit. If you did get invaded, quitting out normally won't be an option. You can either force close the game, or make your way inside the Pontiff's boss room, which will restore your ability to quit out. Quitting out will bring you back to Wolnir's bridge, as we had ladder storage set up. The bonfires we lit will remain lit, so getting back inside Irithyll won't be a problem. Return to Firelink and buy a prism stone and a large leather shield from the handmaid. Head up and outside, and do the old reliable tree jump to get on the roof. Head around the back of the roof to take out the crystal lizard, then go through the opening and trade the prism stone and large leather shield with Snuggly Jr. for some more twinkling titanite. Grab the Estus shard immediately on the left, then head through the illusory wall at the back of the area to get the covetous silver serpent ring. Give the Grave Warden's ashes to the handmaid, and buy 12 shards. Then head over to Andre to upgrade both the wind blades and the great bow to +3. Give him the Farron Coal, and infuse the wind blades with sharp to make them that little bit better. Finally, upgrade your flask. Return to the Church of Yorshka, and take the path to the Pontiff. Open the shortcut if you want to be safe, then enter the boss room and save and quit. When you load back in, wait for the Scythe Knight to pass, then go over and take out the Sword Knight using the Wind Blades. Wait for the Scythe Knight to come back up the stairs, then take him out too. With both knights gone, line up with the center of the Fog Gate, backstep once, then equip the Great Bow. Now, for whatever reason, the Millwood Great Bow's weapon art is capable of shooting through fog gates. The arrows don't travel straight through though. Once they hit the fog gate, they take on a significant upward angle. So the fun part is figuring out where to aim. You'll be able to see a dark section through the fog gate, which is the exit fog gate. That's the direction we want to aim, but we want to aim a good bit below it. From there, use the weapon art. My rule of thumb is, if you can see your arrow and it didn't hit, you aim too low. If you can't see your arrow and it didn't hit, you aim too high. You don't need any focus for this to work, so if you run out when trying to figure out where to aim, don't use a flask charge until you've found the right spot. Once you've hit the Pontiff, you've found the spot, and you will want to have focus as it increases damage dealt. We don't want to attack too quickly in succession though. The arrows can make the Pontiff flinch, and if he does, it's possible to knock him into a spot where it's no longer possible to hit him. So to play it safe, count to 5 every time his health bar disappears, which will ensure his flinch timer resets and he stays in place. A handful of arrows later, the Pontiff will go down, with us safely on the outside of the fog gate. The path to Anor Londo is completely normal. Just run through, and watch out for Silver Knight archers. Anor Londo itself is also nothing noteworthy. Head straight to Aldrich, enter the room, and save and quit. On loading back in, line up your character's left heel with the bottom right of this raised tile. Enter the fog gate, and spam backstep. If done right, you'll avoid the fight trigger. You'll now be in the boss room with Aldrich's AI disabled, and can use the Great Bow's weapon art on Gwendolyn's head to quickly finish the fight. Return to Firelink, get 28 strength, and dump the rest of your souls into endurance. Before leaving Firelink, grab the cracked red eye orbs, then head back to the Road of Sacrifices. Unfortunately, our giant friend holds an item we need, so we're going to have to take him out. Return to the distant manor, then start heading into Irithyll Dungeon. The dungeon is pretty quick and easy to get through as long as you know the path. Take an immediate right, then cross the bridge on the left. Make another right, go through the open gate, and follow the path to the left to the gate you can open. Drop down and head straight through the open gate. Continue down the path, and drop down when you get to the ladder. Open the door, wake up the giant, and enter the tunnel. Run up the stairs to lure out the rats, then continue through to another gate. Carry on forward, and we've made it to the profaned capital. Grab the bonfire and the bone shard, then head straight to Yhorm. On this initial entrance, our only goal is to grab the Storm Ruler. Once you've got it, quit out. We're going to abuse the Millwood Greatbow's weapon art to hit Yhorm, just like we did at the Pontiff. You'll want to line up so the back of your left foot is aligned with this specific line on the ground. To hit Yhorm, you'll need to aim a bit below the blue mist you can see. The same rules as with the Pontiff apply. If you can see your arrow and it doesn't hit, you're too low, and if you can't see it and it doesn't hit, you're too high. Thanks to the Hawk Ring, we have just barely enough range to deal damage to Yhorm with the Millwood Great Arrows. Without it, we wouldn't deal any damage to him. We also wouldn't have enough arrows to do this if we didn't get a spell into our arrow slot beforehand. So basically, this all came very close to not working. Unlike with the Pontiff, we'll want to attack Yhorm as quickly as possible. He will flinch, but he doesn't move all that far, so readjusting your aim is not nearly as much of an issue here. Also, no matter how many flasks you bring, you will run out of focus at some point. Yhorm has a lot of health, so just keep going with the weaker attacks. My plan here was to damage Yhorm until he was in range for a one-shot kill with the Storm Ruler. You always have enough time for at least 2 Storm Ruler attacks before he can reach you, but I was going for one to play it safe. But something unique happened. I flinched him so far to the side that I couldn't hit him anymore. He was already in range of a one-shot at this point, so it didn't matter too much, but what happened as a result is what surprised me. I entered and waited for him to charge at me, but he never did. Turns out that flinching him so far to the side has a side effect of getting him stuck, so I had accidentally cheesed him even harder than I was intending. Poetic, really. A single Storm Ruler attack finished him off, and will be warped out afterwards. Speak to Emma, and quit out when the fight with the Dancer starts. You'll load in back outside the boss room, and you'll want to enter it from as far back and to the right as possible. When you enter, spam backstep, just like with Aldrich, and you'll avoid the trigger. Then just hope you don't get unlucky like me and get killed by the knights. Avoiding that, you'll just want to use normal bow attacks on the Dancer. The weapon art will cause you to touch the trigger, which we want to avoid. load her up with arrows, and enjoy the free win. Head into Lothric Castle, grab the bonfire, head outside, grab the bonfire. No more bonfires, so time to do something else. Wake up the drakes, then shoot the one on the right in the leg a couple times to kill them both for some reason. Continue forward, open the gate if you want, then save and quit outside the Dragonslayer Armour's boss room. Time to go online. Note that if you're using a spell in your arrow slot, do this at your own risk. I haven't been banned so far, but that doesn't mean it's safe. So why are we risking a ban? For the sake of cheese, of course. The Dragonslayer Armour can't be hurt before its fight starts. I guess they learned about open ceiling arenas from the Capra Demon. Use a cracked red eye orb and wait until you get the message that you're invading. When you do, enter the fog gate. Once you invade, immediately use the black separation crystal to leave. Shout out to Lord Soul here, who has completely unknowingly helped me cheese the armor. When you return to your world, the fight with the armor will have started, but with you on the outside of the fog gate. Stand over by this pillar and shoot between the armor's legs to hit it. Its shield can block you if you try to shoot to the side. Note that if you aren't positioned completely correctly, the armor can still hit you. With proper positioning, the fight should be safe, and you can enjoy another free victory. Head into the archives. The run-through will be completely normal. If you want to be safe, activate the elevator shortcut in the final section before you head up to the princes. Save and quit on opening the doors, trigger the fight, then save and quit again. Just like the previous bosses, we're going to abuse our great bow to shoot Lorien through the fog gate. However, when you see him flinch, you'll want to enter the room. Flinching causes his AI to break for some reason. From there, walk behind him and stand in the middle of the red carpet. Make sure to finish the fight off with a normal attack. The weapon art causes the arrows to pierce, and Lorien will notice you at the start of Phase 2 as a result. Now in Phase 2 unnoticed, aim so you just hit Lothric and use normal attacks. Lorien won't notice you, so the fight is completely free. Return to Firelink, get 20 endurance, and dump your remaining souls into strength. Offer all of the cinders, and it's time to finish this. Trigger the fight with the Soul of Cinder, and quit out. The Millwood Greatbow works here just like everywhere else. There's no need to take your shots slow here. The soul will flinch, but not far enough in any direction that you can't hit him. A handful of arrows later, the soul will go down, and the game is complete. So you don't need to fight a single boss legitimately to complete Dark Souls 3, even on current patch. That's about it for this video. I hope you found it helpful or entertaining, and I will see you guys in another video.